All right, you guys. So today we're going to be talking about dividing using friendly numbers. All right. So we're going to be dividing a 2-digit by 1 digit and a 3-digit by 1 digit using these friendly numbers. All right. And friendly numbers are just numbers that will help you to divide. So what we're going to think about are what are some easy benchmark friendly numbers to use to help us divide. And some easy numbers that we can use are 100. 50, 20, 10, the number 5, the number 2, and the number 1. Eventually, the goal is that you'll get so used to the friendly numbers that you'll be dividing without the friendly numbers. And you'll just be so fluent with dividing that you won't even have to use them. So right now, we're going to be using the friendly numbers though to divide. So remember, these are your numbers: 100, 50, 20, 10, 5, 2, and 1. All right. And so we're going to start with this first division problem. So 64 divided by 3. I'm going to write my friendly numbers down here. This is something you can do when you're dividing so that you can remember the numbers that you're using in order to divide. All right, so I wrote my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers down. And so we're going to do 64 divided by 3. So I know that when I divide 64 divided by 3, I'm going to use it. I'm going to draw what's called the big 7. See how this is a 7? And we're going to put 64 in here, and we're going to divide it by 3. All right. And so first we're going to think about our friendly numbers. So we're going to think about how many times can 3 go into 64 without going over the number 64. So you think about 100, and I'm going to say, all right, 100. If I do times 100, 100 times 3 is 300. That's way over 64. So it cannot be 100 times. So I'm not going to use 100. So then I'm going to try 50. All right, let me think. 50 times 3. And this is why we learned how to multiply using zeros. Well, 50 times 3, what is 50 times 3? Good, 150. 150 is way over 64. So I can't use 50. So now I'm going to try 20. All right, so let's try 20. So, 3 times 20. What is 3 times 20? Good, 60. So 60 is close to 64 without going over. So we're going to use 60. All right, and now we're going to subtract. 64 minus 60 is 4. All right, and so now we're trying to figure out, okay, can I use another 20? Can I do times 20 again? No, I can't because 60 is way over 4. Now we're just looking at the number 4, so I can't use 20, so I'm going to look at 10. Can I say times 10? No, 10 times 3 is 30. That's too big. So we can't say times 10. Let's think about times 5. Can I use 5? 3 times 5 is 15. That's way too big as well. All right, let's think about 2. 3 times 2 is 6. That's bigger than 4. So I can't use 2. Let's look at 1. All right, 3 times 1 is 3. Bingo. So 3 can be it because 3 is less than 4. So I'm going to do times 3. Then remember you subtract after. When I subtract 4 minus 3, I will get 1. Now, this is where you stop at and you think, okay, so I know that I can't do a 1 again because that's too big, that's 3. So whenever your answer to your subtraction problem is less than your divisor, this is going to be considered like your remainder. That's where you stop at. So you stop. All right, so I'm stopping right here, but I still need to figure out what is my quotient, what is my answer. So in order to find your answer, you have to add up what your friendly numbers. So 20 plus 1. So 20 plus 1 is 21. And then I have a remainder. What's left over is 1. So this would be my final answer here. 21, remainder 1. So 64 divided by 3 is 21, remainder 1. We're going to do another one. All right, so we're going to do this one. 95 divided by 5. All right, 95 divided by 5. So I know I'm going to draw my big 7. And I'm going to put 95. And I'm going to divide it by 5. And then I'm going to put my friendly numbers to remind myself. 100, 50, 20, 10, 5, 2, and 1 to remind myself. All right, so I know that, let me think, 100. I'm trying to get to 95, but not over 95. So how many times can 5 go into 95 without going over? Let's see if it's 100 times. Well, 100 times 5 is 500. That's way too big. So I'm going to cross out 100. Let me think about 50. What is 50 times 5? Good, 250. 250 is way too big, so it can't be 50. So let's try 20. What is 20 times 5? 20 times 5 is 100. Is that too big? Yes, it is. So I can't do 20. So let's do 10. All right, 10. 10 times 5 is 50. So I can subtract that 50 because 50 is smaller than 95, but it doesn't go over 95. So we can use 50. So now let's subtract. After we do that, 5 minus 0 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. So we have 45 now. So now we need to see, can I do another 10? No, because that'll be 50. That's too high. We're trying to get to 45, but not over 45. All right, can I do a 5? All right, good. 5 times 5. What is 5 times 5? Good, 25. All right, subtract. You'll get 20. Can I do another 5? Nope, too big. Can I do a 2? What is 5 times 2? 5 times 2 is 10. I'm losing room. So now I have 10 left over. Can I do another 2? Yes, I can, because another 2 would be 10. So I'm doing times 2 again, which will be 10. I'm going to have to erase some of this. So another 2 would be 10, right? Subtract, and you'll get 0. So boom, I do not even have anything left over. So there's no remainder because there's nothing left over. So I have to add up my friendly numbers. So 10 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2. What is 10 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2? Good, 19. So then my answer is 19. 19 is my final answer. All right, so we're going to do one more division problem. 123 divided by 6. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So 123 divided by 6. And I'm going to draw my big 7. I know my first friendly number is 100. Actually, let's change it to 623. I'm going to do 623 divided by 6. 50, 20, 10, 5, 2, and 1. All right, so let's start with 100. Can I do 100? So I'm trying to get to 623. How many times is 6 going to 623 without going over? So if I try 100, what's 100 times 6? Great, 600. Ooh, that's near 623 without going over. So I can use the 100. So when I subtract, I will get 23. Then I'll say, all right, can I use another 100? No, that's way over 23. So I think, can I use 50? 50 times 6. What is 50 times 6? Good, it's 300. Can't use that. So then I'll think about 20. What is 20 times 6? Good, 120. Can't use that. Just trying to get to 23. What is 10 times 6? 60. That's way too over. Can't use that. All right, we're getting smaller, smaller. What about 5? 6 times 5 is 30. We can't use that. So then we're going to try to get to 2. What is 2 times 6? Good, 12. So we can use a 2 because 12 is smaller than 23. So when I subtract, I'll get 11. Can I use another 2? No, it's too big, right? So let's use 1 then. What is 1 times 6? Great, 6. So when I subtract this, what is 11 minus 6? Good, 5. So can I stop right there because I noticed that 5 is less than my divisor. So that means I have to stop. This is considered my remainder. So I need to add up my friendly numbers and figure out what my quotient is. So 100 plus 2 plus 3 is 103. The remainder, 5. So that would be my answer. All right, so let's solve some equations. This is based on our Canvas assignment for today. So a collection of 64 stickers is placed into 4 equal piles. How many stickers are placed into each pile? So I know I'm doing 64 divided by 4. right? And we're going to use our friendly numbers. And we're going to start with 100. Can I do 100 times 4? No, too big. That would be 400 or just trying to get to 64. How many times is 4 going to 64? Can I do 50 times 4? No, because that's 200. That's way too big. All right, so I'm going to try 20. Can I do 20 times 4? That's way too big as well. That's 80. Can't do that. So then let's do 10 times 4. Good. Yes, we can do 10 times 4. 10 times 4 is 40. And subtract, you'll get 24. All right, so now can we do 5 times 4? Yep, we can do 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract, you get 4. And then can we do 2? No, because that's 8. So then we have to try 1. So 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract and get 0. So there's no remainder left over. Nothing left over. But when I add 10 plus 5 plus 1, my answer is 16. So your answer would be 16 for that. All right, you guys. So we learned how to use friendly numbers in order to divide today.